Welcome to the Undisputed Podcast. I'm your host, Joy Taylor. On today's show, after getting blown out by the Raptors, what's going on with the Cavaliers? Plus predictions for this weekend's NFL playoff clashes. And could the leaky Patriots defense keep Tom Brady from winning another Super Bowl? Skip, Shannon, let's get to it. Let's start with the struggling Cavs. They lost by 34 in Toronto last night, and now they've dropped 6 of their last 8. LeBron scored 26 but had just 1 assist, which was a season low. This is the first time in his career that he's lost back-to-back games by at least 25 points. He's also looked incredibly frustrated in the second quarter when he started yelling at everyone in the Cavs huddle during a timeout. After the game, Ty Lue made some very interesting comments about his team. Let's take a listen.
I never really get concerned. We got to be better. We know that, but until we play better defensively, I think offensively, sharing the basketball, I think everyone on the same page, and if guys have agendas, we got to get rid of our agendas and play the right way.
What do you mean by that?
That's what I said.
LeBron Ty said that if there are agendas in here that you guys need to get rid of them, what does that mean to you?
I mean, I would hope not. I mean, come on. At this point, we're 3.5, 4 years in this thing, and I hope not. I mean, I don't know. I don't have one. I just want to win. I just like playing ball the right way, getting guys involved, and winning and playing ball. So, I don't.
Shannon, what did Ty Lue mean by agendas?
I don't know what he really meant. I know they're not playing defense. That's what he should have said. They're not playing defense at all, Skip. I mean,
he started with that, but then he went to the offense. But go ahead.
They're sharing the ball,
Yep.
but Isaiah can't buy a bucket. 0-10 again, Skip. Remember the other night he was 0 for at the half. That's not 0 for, I think he's 0 for 18 in the first half of the last 2 ball games. Kevin Love, and that's the thing with Kevin. Kevin can be great some games. Some games he'll give you 31 and 18.
Yep.
And then I thought Santa was supposed to bring you things for Christmas. He took Kevin Love's game. Does he still play for the Cavaliers? Skip, JR hasn't been right in a while. Now, he went through something last year with the his daughter being born prematurely. He got the big contract. He broke the wrist. He missed some games. He came back. And we know JR is not going to shoot a high percentage, Skip, because he's going to take off-balance shots. He's going to take a lot of threes. He's going to shoot the ball late in the shot clock. So I don't expect him. But I do expect him to play better than what I've seen over the last year and a half. Jay Crowder, all of a sudden, he can't buy a bucket. He was a great spot-up corner shooter when he was with the Celtics. And he could play lockdown D. He doesn't play any D. I mean, I know you're going to talk about LeBron's plus-minus, but when you go over, I know you're going to talk about it.
I didn't even write it down. I swear, you could, Joy. You can just check
Joy can't read that, man. Joy can't read that.
I only care about his minus. I don't care about the plus. But go ahead.
Exactly.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, you're going to have a minus. Yeah. When one guy at the half go 0 for 10, another guy go 1 for 4, another guy goes 1 for 3, yeah, you're going to be minus 22. But look at him. At the first half, he was 6 of 10. The rest of the starters, 9. The rest of the team was 9 of 24. What am I supposed to do with that, Skip? LeBron doesn't have an agenda. He's the only guy that's on that roster that has nothing left to prove. You don't think teams would line up if the season ended today and LeBron was a free agent? You think, oh, man, I don't know if LeBron still got it. He's still averaging 27, 9, and 8. The only person that really has something to prove is who, Skip? Isaiah. He's the only one. Kevin Love's under contract for another year, 2 years. JR's under contract for 2 years. Jay Crowder's under contract for 2 years. Kevin Love got another year after this. So I don't really get what Ty Lue was trying to say. But how about they got out-rebounded 65-35, 18-9 on the offensive end. That means if you get out-rebounded by almost 30, that means on some occasions you gave up multiple, at least 4 cracks on the offensive end, Skip. You can't get out-rebounded by this much and it just be on the defensive end of the on the court. I watched them. They weren't playing. I mean, they try and close out. And when they close out, Skip, it's like they nail to the floor. They don't try to they don't shuffle their feet. Kevin Love, guy, I mean, I didn't even know this guy. You get that rebounded by 28 with no Ibaka. The second best player, Kyle Lowry, didn't even play. And you get beat by this? What am I supposed to do with this, Skip? But I ain't worried. LeBron will get it going. I'm sure LeBron had a closed-door meeting, let them know that he was very disappointed in their play. And that's not good enough if you want to play with me. Now, I'm going to make some moves, and a lot of people are not going to be happy with the moves I'm about to make. But I'm about to shake some things up.
Some people are going to be gone.
Of course.
Some people are going to be added.
Yep.
Some tall people.
Yep. And you won't be kid like you are right now? Nope. But your day coming.
So is it about time? Because it was just about this time last year at New Orleans. It was just before we went to the Super Bowl. Remember this? I don't have enough help. Remember the LeBron speech? It's about time for I don't have enough help, right? Yes, you're making it for him already.
No. So let me ask you this, Skip. You like the way Isaiah, you like the way Kevin Love, JR, and Jay Crowder's playing. You telling me with that, the way they're playing right now, that's on LeBron?
I didn't love Isaiah when they acquired him, and I've been consistent about that. He's not going to help that much. Obviously, none on defense. He might subtract from what has become the worst defense in pro basketball. This is worse than Sacramento's defense. I'm sorry, because to your point,
statistically they're not.
But
they
three
are.
Straight games of 127 or more.
Yes.
And last night was just the all-time debacle where it's just over from the start. You could just see it. And silly me, I really thought, because LeBron has owned that team in the postseason, and if you subtract Kyle Lowry, as you point out, and Andy Baca, it just should be a walkover for LeBron and company. And obviously he needs some help. But to go into Toronto and just get obliterated from the tip-off, where it was just over right away. Didn't you just see?
Yes.
It's over.
Yes.
They don't want to play tonight, and Toronto really, really wanted to play. And the stunning stat to me was Toronto's bench, which is much better than it was last year, which makes them a little more viable this year. It outscored Cleveland's bench 76-48. Oh, that's almost 30 right there.
Right.
Okay? So.
But
now,
we'll take that from our bench. We'll take 48 points from, if you get 48 points from your bench on a nightly basis, Skip, I guarantee you every team in the NBA would take that.
Yeah.
But you can't give up 73 to the other team's bench.
You cannot. And you can't get out-rebounded 63-35. It's just horrendous. And LeBron James can't just have 3 rebounds. I'm sorry, he just can't. He's just better than that. At least Kevin Love got 9 rebounds, but the rest of it's just a disaster. So, now for my big picture takeaway, back to Joy's question about the cryptic agenda quote. How weird is that? Ty Lue went LeBron on LeBron, because it's usually LeBron who drops the little cryptic bombshell after the game, right? And all of a sudden, the coach did. Wow.
Hold up, Skip. I don't like that. I don't like what you're trying to imply here. I know what you're trying to do.
I'm not going to imply. I'm just going to flat out state it. It's not going to be between the line. It's going to be the line.
Oh, it's in front of the line. I'm going to be able to see it.
In the 203 games that Ty Lue has now coached LeBron's team, that was the first time that the guy I've often referred to as assistant coach Lue acted like the head coach last night. Because in that sideline huddle that you spoke of, LeBron got angry at the whole team for a little while, and then all of a sudden, LeBron directed his anger, if we could see it again, at the coach.
Was it Ty Lue or Drew?
No, it was at the head coach. That's how I saw it. I thought he was pointing at the head coach. And pretty soon, the head coach and everybody else is firing back at LeBron, and finally he backed up and said, oh, okay, like that's the first time anybody's ever gone back at LeBron James. So my point is that everybody stood up to LeBron for the first time and said, well, what about you? He got asked in the huddle, what about you? What's your role in all this? And then Ty Lue cryptically skipped over the defense, which is obviously the most glaring weakness here, and went to the offense and talked about how everyone has to be on the same page and we need to share the ball. And again, he didn't stipulate, I'm not talking about LeBron James, because he got re-asked the question, you mean what? And usually he would say, no, I don't mean LeBron, obviously. I'm talking about the rest of them.
Right.
But he kept LeBron in the mix of this. So I can only wonder about what the direction of that is going. And I'm going to say this one more time. We're going to talk about Kyrie here in a little bit, about his Instagram. No, he
liked it.
He liked. That's what he did. The huddle shot, right?
Yes.
And again, I have a source very close to Kyrie who told me that a reason that Kyrie wanted out is that Kyrie came to believe that LeBron, at this point in his career, is a little more interested in his performance and his stats than winning championships.
Well, that's not what he told Jackie McMullen. He said that because the Cavaliers didn't want him, they wanted him out first. So somebody's lying. Either he lied to Jackie McMullen or that source close to Kyrie is lying.
No.
So
Well,
which is it?
That was part and parcel of this. But
okay.
again, he's not going to say this publicly, but trust me on this because I got the goods. I had the goods on Kevin Durant. Did I tell you? Was I not on that other show for 3 years saying Kevin Durant wants out?
Yes.
And everybody knocked me for it. And everybody's knocking me for this, and I'm right about it. So you can take it to your bank or not. You can choose not to.
I believe.
I'm just telling you that was his. It was a reason that, again, he thought they had betrayed him by at least looking for a trade for him. But in this case, there's something going on here with how they're viewing what LeBron's energy is. There's not much energy on the defensive end. So you talked yesterday. He's going to catch and pass Kareem. It's 38,000 odd points.
Yep.
He's like 9,000 odd points behind.
Correct.
Well, if he's going to do that, it's hard, man. But he's going to have to commit more and more to the offensive end. And to me, in year 16, 17, 18, less and less to the defensive end. Well, he used to be the driving force on defense.
Correct.
Now, last night, he wasn't even the driving force on offense, although it wasn't like he took high shots and had high misses. But there's something going on here that Ty Lue doesn't like on the offensive end, which features LeBron James. And I don't know exactly what it is. It's cryptic, but there's something going on where he did not absolve LeBron of any blame.
What if the agenda that T. Lue is speaking about is that, LeBron, are you trying to force this organization to make a trade at the trade deadline? They want to hold up because they don't know what LeBron's going to do. If he walks away, they want to have that Nets pick. Because right now, if the Cavaliers don't pick it up, the Cavaliers pick might be better than the Nets pick. So you might end up trading that one. But that withstanding, Skip, you're looking at it like this. I don't think LeBron likes this roster. He knows he's going to catch the Dickens getting out of the East with the way this roster is constructed currently, and he has no chance of beating Golden State with this roster. Zero.
I would agree with that.
Absolutely zero.
Zero chance.
He knows he needs to go get someone. Now, the DeAndre Jordan is out there. Maybe looks like the Clippers want to try to hold on to Lou Williams because he's playing unbelievable. I would like that deal, but if I could get DeAndre Jordan and Lou Williams.
DeAndre would help. I don't love what he's made of. Yeah. I don't love the fact that he can't make late-game free throws, but he is tall, and he can rebound, and he's not a great defender, but he's a very good defender.
He's a great rim protector.
Yeah.
And so that's the thing, Skip. Once they beat Kevin Love or they beat the guy, there's nobody at the rim that can protect it.
Yep.
And so now, and Tristan is still trying to round back into shape. But I like DeAndre. I would like Lou Williams. And if it meant having to trade that Nets pick, the question is, Skip, are you building for the future or are you trying to win now? Because if you're building for the future, you hold on to that pick and you stand pat. Now, standing pat, which means you're probably going to go 7 games, and then it's a toss-up because you're probably not going to have home court to the Celtics. So it's going to be a toss-up at that point in time. And even if you get past them, you're not beating the Warriors with this team the way it's constructed. I'm sorry.
And maybe it's me. Again, I keep remembering what's happened the last 2 playoffs when LeBron has met Toronto.
Yeah.
And 4-2 happened 2 years ago, and 4-0 happened last year. And both of them were mismatches to me because I'm not sure how they won 2 games the year before. I never thought LeBron was at all threatened by them, obviously 2 years ago or even last year at all. So the point is, am I underestimating what this team's done with this bench?
Yeah.
Because all of a sudden there are all these new guys. You know, Van Vliet's, we know who he is, but he's playing big off the bench, and Powell and Sycam, and they're just a bunch of guys coming in that you don't know who are pretty good. They've got a lot of energy.
They've kind of reshaped
Yeah.
the way they play basketball in Toronto because there was a lot of ISO, DeRozan, and Kyle Lowry. But they get up the 4th most threes in the NBA now, Skip. And when they're knocking them down, that's when I'm
make 18-6. You're gonna
you're probably gonna win that game. But DeMar DeRozan had a quiet night. He had 13 points.
That's
if somebody would have told you DeMar DeRozan would have 13 points
and no Kyle and no
Ibaka, but they're going to win by 30. You like, man, please get out of here. They're not going to win even if DeRozan goes off without Kyle Lowry and Ibaka. Mm-hmm. Something isn't right. Mm-hmm. Something is going on, Skip, and I'm going to have to get my spidey sources on it, George. My spidey senses are tingling right now, so my antenna is up. Something's going on. We're going to make a move here.
And you've made this point before, but Isaiah had a coming out party in Cleveland in the first game or maybe two games. It was pretty sensational.
Had 17 against Portland, then he had 19, I think, against Orlando.
But he had a serious hip condition.
Yes.
That can continue to plague you. Once it goes wrong, it's hard to get it fixed.
Yeah.
And you said that he lives on his quickness.
Yes.
And it's possible his hip is getting sore from NBA games,
right,
and that his quickness has diminished a little bit as it stayed sore.
Yes.
Maybe he's not being able to create enough space to make his shots.
When you play a game, Skip, in the land of the giants, and you rely on quickness and speed, athleticism, and all of a sudden that starts to wane. See, he's not 6'10". See, a big guy, as Kareem started getting older, he couldn't get up and down the court, but guess what, Skip? He come down the court, he get on that block, Magic dump it down to him, he's going to throw the sky hook over his left shoulder. Okay, boom. But Kareem was 7'2". Isaiah's 5'9". So now he's not quick, he's not explosive. As you mentioned, he's a liability on the defensive end. So if he can't score points, he serves you no purpose. So Ty Lue's going to have to make the decision. I mean, because he's a scorer. And a scorer's mentality, guess what? The next one's going in. So he keeps shooting.
Yep.
Keeps.
So last year, I kept telling you I didn't love the way they finished the regular season because remember the stat. Over their last 46 regular season games last year, they were a 500 team, 23-23. And LeBron even said again last night, I'm not a, flip the switch guy. Like, you can't cheat the game.
Right.
Well, last year, they were kind of cheating the game because they were a 500 team going into the playoffs. Then they waltzed through the East, and then, the rest of the story.
Well, they were healthy. And then you had Kyrie because, they would take turns. I mean, Kyrie's going to get 27, Bron's going to get 27, 28. But you can't count on anybody. Who's going to be the second option, Skip?
Yeah.
Because that's what we haven't seen. That second option, the guy that when LeBron goes for 30, he's going to be somewhere around 25, 28. Kyrie, there were some nights LeBron get 30, Kyrie's going to get 34.
He would.
Who is that guy now?
Okay, but the only saving grace, and the reason I'm not going to just write this team off, even though it's begging to be written off after these, especially the last 3 games, or what have they lost, 6 of 8?
Yeah.
I still look at the fact, and I'm going to give you this point, they did win 18 of 19 games this year.
Yeah.
18 of 19 with no help, quote unquote. Well, how did they do that? And there was no Isaiah in that run.
You know what
Is
happened?
Isaiah screwing up the chemistry?
They moved to the middle of the pack defensively. When they got to that bad start, they were 5-7, and they were terrible defensively. They moved to the middle of the pack. And then all of a sudden they went on this win streak. Then they reverted back to the way they were playing in the beginning, as LeBron mentioned, where we kind of reverted back to not playing defense, not doing what we're supposed to. Skip, the dude, I don't even know the dude's name. I'm trying to, what was his name? But anyway, Siakam?
Siakam, yeah.
Skip. Kevin Love closed out. The dude put the ball on the floor, and in 2 steps, he dunked the ball. And Kevin Love still didn't move.
And I got to tell you, LeBron had a couple of those too. They all
yes.
Where they got blown by.
There were a lot of standing around.
Yep.
I mean, the first play of the game, Toronto got 3 cracks at it because Valanciunas just kept rebounding the ball. I'm like, does anybody want? Does the ball have nails in it? The Cavaliers don't want to touch it because they're afraid.
So coming up, they have to go to Indiana, and they've had a hard time this year with Indiana. 0-2. So that's dicey. Then they got next week Golden State and the Thunder. Thunder are struggling, but Golden State is not struggling, depending on who's going to be healthy for that game. And then we're looking at a week ahead. They got to go to the Spurs, and I don't know who's going to be healthy for the Spurs because last night nobody was. But I'm saying it doesn't get any easier.
We don't want it to be easy.
No.
We don't want that. And I guarantee you we will win tonight. And on Dr. King's birthday, you know what's going to happen.
Really?
Yeah.
Put some dew on it.
Put it on it, Skip. Run it.
Wow, really?
Run it.
Oof. I'll take that bet.
Take it.
Yeah. I do need to know who's actually going to be
I don't
healthy.
care. No, we don't worry about
I
who can.
think they're all going to be healthy.
They all can play. As a matter of fact, they can bring back Al Adams and Rick Barry if they want to.
Really?
Yeah.
I'll just take Rick Barry.
No.
Yeah.
Y'all taking the L.
Yeah. I'm not a y'all. Don't y'all me.
And Kevin Durant don't want to be the all-star captain I don't want to pick. Kevin wants to be like so bad, Skip. You talking about LeBron wants to be like, KD wants to be
He
like.
does. I would agree. But
Why does he want to pick?
He is the best player on the
No,
planet.
stop it.
Well, he is.
Skip, see?
We know that.
This is where
everybody knows.
You and I,
that.
this is where we part ways.
Yeah.
I mean, you're a good friend. But when you start talking crazy, Skip, I can't get down with you like this. You know good and well that man is the best player on the planet.
You know, you know what you remind me of? Do you know the old story, the emperor has no clothes? That's the story I hear every day here. Do you know what happened in that story?
No, what happened?
In that story, the emperor, everybody keeps telling him, you have an amazing new set of clothes. It's so amazing, emperor.
Yes.
He's in his birthday suit.
Yeah.
He has no clothes on.
Don't worry about it.
So that's what you keep telling me, that, you know, the emperor has beautiful clothes according to you. And I keep saying, I don't know, maybe he's in his
LeBron.
birthday. Oh, yes, that's what we're talking about.
So that's the emperor. But I thought you was talking about the clothes being Jay Crowder, Kevin Love, and J.R. Smith. I thought those were the clothes that you were talking about.
No,
Because
the emperor.
Let me ask you a question.
Does the emperor have any clothes on?
If you took LeBron James and you put him in Golden State and you put KD in Cleveland, what you think gonna happen, Skip Bayless?
Well, it's very interesting what's happening with the Cavs.
We gonna get it
Here's
right.
a stat you might like, Skip. The only other time LeBron has had a plus-minus of -20 in back-to-back games was 2014 NBA Finals.
Aha. Remember those days?
I would put a call in the T. Lou.
Not a
Spurs
good,
at
not a
5
good,
by a record margin.
And Kawhi was the MVP, averaging 13 points a game. And LeBron was 28, 6, and 7.
What does your restaurant sell?
We out of business right now. We've been closed the last 3 days. Dr. King holiday will be a
Taking
long
some time
weekend.
off. No mercy. It's time for some playoff predictions. Let's start with the Patriots, who are a 13.5-point favorite at home against the Titans tomorrow night. In his career against Tennessee, Tom Brady has 13 touchdown passes and only 1 interception. Shannon, who wins?
I like the Pats. I like the Pats big. Skip, the thing is with the Patriots, when you play them at home in the playoff, the magic number is you got to get to 24. Over the last decade, when they get to 23 points, they're 11-0 at home. Can Tennessee get to 24 points? I don't believe they can. And the thing with the Patriots is they like to start fast, make you one-dimensional. You know Tennessee wants to run the football with Derrick Henry, run some of that zone read with Mariota. But I believe the Patriots start fast and force them to throw the football, which I don't believe that's Marcus Mariota's expertise at this current time. It's going to be really cold that time of night in New England. And I think the motivation of that article and people questioning Tom Brady, he's a backstabbing friend. This will bring this team together. They're going to show they're not nearly as divided as this article portrayed us. And they're going to come out and play hard. The 25th pass-ranked defense, Brady is 17-3 at home, averaging 29 points a game. So in order to have any chance of beating them, you need to get to 24. And Rob Gronkowski, 0 targets in Week 17, but in his last 5 playoff games, he's averaging 11 targets per game. And when you give him that many targets, he's going to put up monster numbers. So I think this is going to be a whitewash. I like the Pats 34-13.
Seriously? 34-13?
34-13. What'd you pick?
I can see where. Did I write my score? I didn't write it down on here. I picked exactly the same score, 34-13. And you scare me to death every time you pick the Patriots, and I don't get it. And I continue to say it's a CYA pick on your part because you're just trying to make sure you're okay. You're going to root against them because you root against Brady.
I don't root against Brady.
You do.
No, I don't.
So you're hoping for the upset of the century.
No.
Although Marcus Mariota against Tom Brady? Seriously?
Thank you.
Wow.
In 0-degree weather.
In 0-degree
At
weather?
home.
From Hawaii, Marcus Mariota?
Yeah.
That Marcus Mariota?
Yeah, I know he spends a lot of his time in Nashville, but
Who threw 13 touchdown passes to 15 interceptions this year? That guy?
does Tom Brady have 15 interceptions in all his playoff career? In all those games he's played, 35 games? This is his 35th game.
The Mariota who had a worse QBR than Blake Bortles this year? That guy, okay? And across the ball from Marcus Mariota is somebody named Kevin Byard. And I knew who he was just because he intercepted a lot of balls, but I wasn't even sure how to pronounce his name until a couple days ago when he made the quote about we hope to turn Tom Brady into Blake Bortles. And that put Kevin Byard out of Middle Tennessee State on the national map, but it also put Kevin Byard on Tom Brady's map. And that's a bad place to be in the cold in Foxborough in a playoff game.
Put him in Tom Brady's crosshairs, his sight.
You got that right. So I think Tom Brady is going to come out with a vengeance, and I'm going to remind you that a bombshell nugget in that Seth Wickersham piece that ran on ESPN.com a week ago was, and we didn't talk about it because it wasn't germane to what we're talking about in the bigger picture.
Correct.
But it pointed out that last year, after this round of playoff game, remember it was the Texans. At Foxborough, right? And Brady went 18 for 38, so that's sub 50%.
Correct.
Did have 2 touchdowns, but through 2 interceptions, his QBR was only 51, which is just 1 notch above average. And according to the story, Belichick lit into Brady in front of the entire team in a way nobody had ever seen, ripping Brady for his carelessness with the ball and running the film back and forth of an interception that Tom threw, saying, "This will get us beat. We were lucky to get away with a win against the Texans."
Yeah, he also said if they didn't have Brock Osweiler, they'd have beat us.
Whew.
Oh, I don't know if he said that.
Ooh,
but
I don't think he said that.
That's what would have happened, though, had they had someone else.
So you don't think that burns in Tom Brady's craw from a year ago, that he knows history, he knows what happened in this game a year ago?
I don't care who we are. I don't care how much we accomplish. Skip, we don't like being chastised, especially publicly, in front of everybody. Now, I ain't have no problem coaching, but it got on me a little bit when Mike's like, "Hey, 84, I need you to make that." I don't like the effort that I saw there. That bothered me, and I wanted to make sure the next time we watch film, that wasn't going to come out of his mouth about me. Of course, as much as Tom Brady has accomplished, and you got the gall to question, to talk about, I was the reason that we almost lost this game. Of course, Tom wants to come out and you have a great showing. But this is not unusual for Coach Belichick because everybody that's played there says he will call Tom Brady out in front of the entire
I got
team.
that, but this is pointed out that this was in a way nobody had ever seen before. So, in the big picture, if Travis Kelce had stayed healthy in that game in Kansas City, I think Kansas City would have hung on and won the game because they dominated in the first half. So, if that's correct, this would have been a much more intriguing matchup. Kansas City after the shellacking they
could they do what they did opening night?
So it would just be intriguing. Do I think Kansas City could win? No, but it would be a lot more interesting than this one. Tennessee is going to be in the wrong place at the wrong time.
You guys both have the same score, 34-13. Tom Brady's going to make it rain. Next up, the other AFC matchup should be a little more competitive. The Steelers are a 7-point favorite over the Jaguars. Pittsburgh has the 3rd best offense in the league, but Ben Roethlisberger threw a career-high 5 interceptions in a blowout loss to Jacksonville in October. So, Shannon, who wins this one?
I like the Steelers. Skip, it's going to be real cold. And I think the thing for the Steelers is to get out early and to force them to make Blake Bortles beat them throwing the football. The closer this game stays for the longer, the more chances you're going to see Leonard Fournette ramming the ball, and they're going to try to dictate when they're going to let Blake throw the ball. I don't believe he can play as bad as he did the first game when he had 90 yards. I don't believe he can play as bad as he played last week when he had less than 90 yards passing. In order to beat the Steelers this time around, Skip, he's going to have to be in the 200s. Now, the defense will give him that opportunity, but I believe Ben gets out to an early lead and they force them to throw the football with Blake Bortles. I like the Steelers at home. I like the Steelers 24-10. I don't like Le'Veon Bell talking about he might retire.
I don't either.
Why are you talking about what's going to happen 3 months from now when that's so far away?
Good question.
Shows where his mind is. But that being said, I still believe the Pittsburgh Steelers 24-10.
You got a new phone?
I do, and I don't know how to work it.
It's dinging.
Yeah, let me get you just do the little thing. Here you go.
Hold up, how I know your face? It turned on. Let me find out you in my drip.
Aha. You've been hacked.
Let me find out.
What did I do?
Because it opened up. It's supposed to recognize my face, not yours.
Listen, you can't leave phones around women for too long. We
See
always
what I'm saying, Skip? See what I'm talking about, Skip?
Go ahead, Skip.
Ernestine got your phone, too.
She can have my phone. I got no secrets. I'm open for business. You know what? This game sets up perfectly for Jacksonville, both on the field and on that locker room bulletin board. I'm going to remind everybody that Mike Tomlin said before the New England game during the regular season at Pittsburgh, it's going to come down, he told Tony Dungy, to us and the Patriots, and it's just a matter of whether it's going to be in our house or their house for the AFC Championship game. Wow. Okay. Maybe he's right. Maybe not. Wonder what Jacksonville's going to have to say about that. Mike Mitchell's already on record as saying, we will beat the Patriots the next time we see them in the playoffs.
Why are you worried about somebody you're not even playing yet?
I don't know.
Skip?
Well, you tell me. And Ben said, before the Bills-Jags wildcard game, I want Jacksonville. Obviously, he believes it was just a flat-out fluke that he threw 5 picks and 2 pick-sixes in that game, and he wants to show the world he ain't that guy. That game was so bad, he was talking about retirement after that game. And now, to your point, Le'Veon's talking about next year, and it just seems like, I've said this again and again on the show, as much as I respect all that weaponry that Ben has on offense, something's been a little off about the Steelers the whole year.
They got a lot of drama going on.
A lot of drama going on.
There's Le'Veon, there's Antonio.
Thank you. And then they lost poor Ryan Shazier to a terrible injury, and then Antonio got hurt, but it sounds like he's going to come back, but will he be 1,000% right for this game? I'm not so sure about that. And despite all those weapons, remember, they only finished 8th in points scored. And I don't get that because that's not living up to what you have.
No, with
paper,
that, yeah, you got to be top 5 with those weapons.
Again, you haven't loved their defense all year. It wound up 7th in points allowed, which is not bad, but you don't love it without Shazier, right?
No.
So here comes a defense that is the next great defense. Has it arrived yet? We see it getting a little better every week. Okay. And obviously, it's going to come in with a lot of confidence because the score was 30-9 the last time they were in this stadium, right? And it's a hard place, as Ray Lewis said the other day, this is a hard place to win a playoff game, and I get all that. But I'm going to say it again about Blake Bortles. He's not, obviously not great, but he's not nearly as bad as he's being portrayed. He's become the NFL punchline. He's quote-unquote garbage.
Yes.
He had a QBR for the whole year of 56, which is in the top half of the league. It's okay. It's not terrible.
He's the Rodney Dangerfield quarterback.
He is. But it's not. He had 4 300-yard-plus passing games.
Yes.
And he's got Marquise Lee and Dede Westbrook and Mercedes Lewis. He's got some weapons outside, not Pittsburgh's, but he's got some people to throw to. And then he's got that big stud behind him.
Fournette, Ivory, they can run the football.
They can run the football, and his offensive line is pretty good. Maybe not great, but pretty good. And so I like the way Blake Bortles handled that little press session we saw at the end of when he made the LeBron comparison, which was absurd. But I didn't see, like demoralized. I didn't see defeated Blake Bortles. I saw angry Blake Bortles.
Right.
I like that. I think he's going to go in and make, 3 or 4 plays that they're going to need to make.
But this game is really set up for what Jacksonville can do. They can run the football and play defense. Now, those things never go. It doesn't matter about the rain. It doesn't matter how cold it is. If you can run the football and you can play defense. Now, we know they can play defense. They're the number 1 defense in football. They got those 2 big studs inside.
Minnesota statistically is, but they're effectively in your mind, they're number 1.
Yeah,
I agree.
They got 2 guys outside. Now, Antonio is going to come back. Now, he's been off for a long time, Skip. See, for me, I wouldn't have let Ben them. I would not have let Ben. Ben would have played to the half. He and Le'Veon would have played to the half because it's hard. Even when you have the bye week, you have that time off to come back. That's 1 week. Can you imagine? They had 2 weeks off, Skip. You had to you took off the week 17, you had to bye, and now you're getting ready to play. So you better start fast because you let doubt creep in your mind. You give that team confidence because the later this game goes into the second half, third, fourth quarter, and they're close.
I agree. I say it will be close, and I'm going to say that the little kicker for the Jacksonville Jaguars makes a kick in a hard place to make a field goal. Little Josh Lambo. I say he nails one. I'm going with the upset. And I don't even think it'll be an upset. I just think Jacksonville's a little better than Pittsburgh. I'm going to go 20-17 Jaguars. And I think I almost convinced you.
Nah. Blake Bortles against Ben, nope. Nope.
Well, if it comes down to that, that's easy. But I don't know if it will.
I would have preferred not be talking about he going to retire. He'll sit out the whole year. He worried about
something. I want to talk about the Steelers retiring this year. Next up, let's go to the NFC. The Falcons are a 3-point favorite at Philadelphia. The Eagles are the first number 1 seed to be an underdog in their first playoff game in over 40 years. Nick Foles is making his second career playoff start and has struggled lately with just 1 touchdown pass in his last 2 games. Shannon, who wins?
I trust Matt Ryan more than I trust Nick Foles. Both of these teams can run the football. Tevin Coleman, Devontae Freeman for Atlanta, and they got Jay Ajayi. They also have the Winnebago, LeGarrette Blount for the Eagles. I love the way the Falcons defense. They showed me something last week, Skip. They went on the road and they hold the league scoring, the league leading offense as far as points, the Rams, to 13 points. That's saying something. You can hold a team that led the league in scoring to 13 points in their building. Matt Ryan looked like the Matt Ryan that won the Super Bowl. Julio Jones had a sighting, but nobody's surprised by that. Julio Jones is a monster. They got very good receivers. The question is, if strength against strength, do you trust the Eagles' offense or do you trust the Falcons' defense? I love the way the Falcons' defense played last week. I think they're getting better. Make them one-dimensional. Make Nick Foles beat you. Do not let Jay Ajayi, do not let LeGarrette Blount get off running the football. Make Nick Foles. It's going to be cold, Skip. It's going to be real cold. It's cold in Atlanta. They've been practicing outside, so they're going to be ready. I got the Falcons.
You got the Falcons. So you make good points, but I'm going to make one that's a little better. I have made fun of Nick Foles occasionally, called him Foles Gold occasionally, but there's certain things you can't take away from Nick Foles. Once upon a time, back in 2013, he threw 27 touchdown passes to only 2 interceptions for that regular season. That's pretty good.
Very good. You see that out there? The Eagles fans looking for that guy.
They're looking for
They're
that
looking
guy.
for him, Joe. I ain't seen him since.
Nick Foles has started 40 NFL games. Not 4, 40. And he did start a playoff game after that 2013 season, and it was against Drew Brees. It was in Philadelphia, and he was pretty good in that game. He was 23 of 33 for 195 yards, 2 touchdowns, and no interceptions, and conducted the drive that put them ahead with 4:54 left in the game on a touchdown pass to Zach Ertz. They were up 24 to 23, and then long kickoff return, horse collar tackle, and Drew Brees sort of bled the clock out, and they kicked the walk-off, and it was 26 to 24. But Nick Foles wasn't at fault for 26 to 24. And what happened when he got thrown into the fire at the Rams when Carson Wentz unfortunately got hurt? What happened? Do you remember that 3rd and 8 play? Big throw.
Clutch.
To Aguilar, right?
Yes.
And he's got some weapons. Aguilar, Alshon, Torrey Smith. They got Zach Ertz. They got weapons,
They do.
right?
Yep.
And as you say, they can run the ball. And what do they have? They got motivation because, as Lane Johnson said earlier this week, they are sick and tired of being talked about like they've turned into the Cleveland Browns without Carson Wentz.
Well, they saw the last game that Nick Foles played, and he reminded them of Deshaun Kaiser.
I guess
so. That's why they don't call them the Browns. They call them the Greens.
Okay.
So show me.
Okay. Well, as you've been saying to me all year, that's a pretty good football team.
They are.
I like their defense. I really like their front seven. I like their run game. I like those weapons outside. Nick Foles is not disastrously bad. And I don't think this moment will be too big for him because no moment before has been too big for him.
Very few times, Skip, can you get a backup to come in and fill in for an MVP and there's no drop-off.
Okay, but is he really a quote-unquote backup?
Yeah, that's what he is.
I don't know.
That's what he is. He's
40 career starts.
Yeah.
That qualifies as a backup?
Mark Sanchez got more than that.
You know what? I think the Philadelphia Eagles are going to rise up and say, watch this, because I think the Atlanta Falcons were made to look a lot better than they really are by the LA Rams. I think the Rams are just a better team than the Falcons, but they don't play well at home. I told you that going into the game. And I thought they played a weak playoff game. I don't think they were ready for the bright lights.
So you trust Nick Foles?
Yeah. Well, listen, Atlanta, remember, they are who they were in the regular season. They finished 15th in points scored in the regular season, and we talked week after week about what's wrong with Matt Ryan, right?
But they're getting going, those guys.
I think you're going to see that they're going to revert back to, what's wrong with them?
He going home, he probably going to have like 50 people up in the stands cheering him on. Oh, Matty Ice going to have that thing ready.
Well, he's going to be turned into ice because it's going to get cold.
Matty Ice, he's from Philly. He's used to that cold weather. They've been practicing outside all week. They say it's been real cold in Georgia.
Well,
it has been cold in Georgia.
You jumped off that Eagles bandwagon when Carson Wentz went down. I think you jumped too soon.
That was my MVP.
Well, I remember he stuck with them for like another week because he was convinced of Foles.
Yeah, they beat the Giants.
Showed him Foles.
You know what?
Philadelphia.
I'm going with another upset here. I'm going with the home #1 seed underdog, the Philadelphia Eagles, who are they're a 3-point underdog at home. I'll take them.
Do you want that? Is that what you really want? You want the Eagles to win a playoff game when your Cowboys couldn't win one last year, had one at home?
It's not about once.
It has nothing to do with them.
Because you know you got to face that team. Dak's going to be in that division for the next 10 years.
When Dak has one guy to throw to, we're going to be
Don't do
just
that,
fine.
Skip.
Just one guy.
Why you doing that? Why you do Dez like that?
Huh? I'm not doing Dez. I'm doing Bryce Butler like that. Right? Way to go, Bryce.
Next up, the Vikings are a 5-point favorite at home on Sunday against the Saints on Fox. This is a great matchup between the Vikings defense, which gave up the fewest points and yards in the league, against a Saints offense that was ranked 2nd in the NFL. So, Shannon, who wins?
I don't think we'll see what we saw opening Monday night, Skip, when Sean Payton was trying to figure out he give Adrian Peterson 7 carries, he give Kamara 7 carries, he got Ingram 6 carries, and nobody had 20 yards. They're trying to figure this thing out. They jettison, they trade AP, and the next thing you know, these guys take off. The thing is that when you look at New Orleans, you're like, man, they can really run the ball, and they can. But their quarterback has 3 of the highest completion percentage seasons in NFL history. He has 5 5,000-yard passing seasons. He's a 2-time Offensive Player of the Year. He's a Super Bowl MVP. Now, Carolina made it their business. We will not let you run the football.
They did not.
But they forgot that they had old Drew, and he threw for 376.
He did.
And that's what he's capable of. But this Minnesota defense is a different animal at home. On that turf, in that building with Everson,
yeah.
Yeah. Woo! It's going to be closer than that. I say Minnesota on a late field goal, 27-24. But, I mean, would I be shocked if New Orleans went in there and won? No, I wouldn't. I just think I like Case Keenum. I trust Case Keenum a little more than I trust Nick Foles.
Yet, you told me again and again through the season, Case Keenum's a backup quarterback, right?
Yeah.
You just told me Nick Foles is a backup
Yeah,
quarterback.
he is.
And Case Keenum just kept playing like a starting quarterback who I think is about to get paid.
Yeah,
like a
somebody
whole lot of money, right?
Yeah.
'Cause he was really good.
I know a guy that got paid too. Old Brock Osweiler. That Super Bowl season. Played really well, went 5-2 down the stretch. Got paid.
I think that was because one team way overpaid for him. I don't think anybody's going to overpay for Case Keenum because he's really good at what he does.
He'll probably get 10 a year, Skip.
He probably will get, and he's earned 10 a year. But when my Cowboys did get eliminated at the end of the regular season, I had to pick somebody going into the playoffs, and I picked the Saints to win the NFC, as did my partner across the table.
I did.
And then you saw the Saints one time against Carolina, and you saw couldn't run the ball, didn't really look like the Saints we thought they were going to look like, but they still won the game.
They won the game.
And you have abandoned another bandwagon. So now you're back on the Minnesota bandwagon, and you shouldn't be. I'm sticking with the Saints in this game. And look, Andres Pete, nobody knows who he is, but he's one of the better left guards in football, and he was a first-round pick of the Saints and went to Stanford, and he was a force in that offensive line. So am I a little shaky about this? I'm a lot shaky. I'm a lot shaky because I do respect Minnesota at home. But I know Mike Zimmer well enough to tell you what was his forte. Where did he come from? He coached defensive backfield. He coached the DBs. And I believe you're going to see a reverse approach than what you saw Ron Rivera do with his defense. His defense sold out to stop the run at New Orleans, right? I think you're going to see in that dome up there, and it's really loud up there, I think they're going to sell out to stop Drew Brees. And you know who's going to rise and shine in this one? The likely offensive rookie of the year, Alvin Kamara. Obviously, he didn't have much impact in the opening night game up there in Minnesota because it was mostly an Adrian Peterson type of game, or at least he was the focal point. But this time, Alvin Kamara is going to be able to run it, and he's going to be able to catch little flip swing passes from Drew Brees. And I believe he'll be the star of this game because I really love this kid, his energy and his burst. And I think he's going to cause lots of problems for the Minnesota defense. He did not cause for the Carolina defense at New Orleans. So I'm going to go with Drew Brees over, to use your philosophy. I'm going with Drew Brees over Case Keenum in this one because I think Drew will still.
I thought you like Case.
Huh? I do like him, but again.
Oh, you don't like him much as
I
Drew.
already picked the Saints because I said they had the best remaining quarterback in the tournament.
Absolutely.
And I like their defense. It's a little bit, it's different. It's the flip side of the New England defense, which is bend but don't break. This defense breaks. It just sells out. It just gamble. It's all or nothing. It'll either 3 and out you or it'll give up a big play. But I like that because it usually gets Drew Brees back on the field so he can make a play. So they were, 10th in points allowed? I think they're going to hang in. I think they'll do pretty well because obviously Case Keenum's offense isn't explosive. So I'm going to go not that high scoring, and it's going to be a barn burner to the end up in the cold up in Minneapolis.
It's indoors.
You know, I'm just saying it's going to be cold outside, though. I can tell you that.
Yeah, it is.
You know, LeBron found out how cold
Yeah,
it
they
was.
got
It was
nothing to do with
cold
it.
inside. He was minus 39 inside.
Yeah, but you see the Skip. Why you do that?
Well, you asked for it. I just walked through the door you opened.
Skip. Did you saw those guys? They were like 0 for 23. What do you expect?
He needs help.
Yeah.
Yeah. And maybe Case Keenum's going to need a little more help than he's got.
So what's your score?
I'm going 21-20 visiting team. I'm going with another up. That's my third upset pick of this segment.
You got 3 road teams winning.
You know what, Joy, what I've noticed about my partner across the table? He always takes the chalk. He always takes the safe way out, right? I'm having some guts over here. I'm having courage of my convictions. I'm sticking with the Saints that I picked before the tournament started.
Look, we both had different teams to start this thing out. You had the Cowboys, I had Seattle.
Yeah.
Now, I was really close to getting into the playoffs. You were not.
I was close. I had it first. Wait a second.
Pick the Patriots.
We both picked the Patriots. But wait a second. My Cowboys had it first and goal at the 3 on Seattle, ready to take over the game.
That's how far away
No
you were.
Zeke, no Zeke, no Zeke, no Zeke.
Whoa. You had Dak, you had Dak, you had Dak. If he's that dude, he got to deliver. Deliver us from evil, Dak.
Please.
I cannot.
Next year.
Oh, no, why you talking about something
Give me
next year?
one receiver and I'm good.
Hold on, you got receivers. What about
I have
theirs?
nobody.
What about T. Will? You like T.
I
Will?
don't. Not anymore. He's T-won't.
Okay, what about Cole Beasley?
Huh?
You like Cole Beasley?
Measly Beasley?
Oh, now he Measly Beasley.
He's a rapper now.
Yeah.
He's a rapper.
What about Switzer?
Yeah. Who?
Switzer.
Barry Switzer?
No, you don't. The way you say gonna make big plays. Oh, he gonna make some big plays.
I thought so. I admitted the other day I was wrong.
No mercy.
The Patriots are a big point favorite at home against the Titans tomorrow night. They're also the favorite to win the Super Bowl despite a struggling defense. ESPN's Casey Joyner graded the defenses of all the playoff teams, and the Patriots got an F for rush defense, a C- for pass rush, and an F for their front 7. We're joined by FS1 NFL analyst Ray Lewis.
Morning.
Ray, how much faith do you have in New England's defense?
You know, it's funny. I don't know why we get caught up in this every year. Somebody comes out and says, well, guess what? The Patriots defense are not good enough to go win a Super Bowl. And then guess what happens? They go win a Super Bowl. You know, people don't play. When decisions are made against the Patriots, historically, people don't play against the Patriots defense. They play against Tom Brady. They make decisions to beat Brady, right? You go all the way back to Seattle, right? You say, well, Seattle got a good offense, you know, and they're going to do this with Marshawn Lynch. And guess what? Boop, 1 yard line, throw the pass. Guess what? Tom Brady wins another Super Bowl, right? You go last year, Super Bowl against Atlanta. Shut out first half. Shut out, blowing out, getting blown out. Tom Brady wasn't on the field when defense shut out Matt Ryan them in the second half. Their defense was on the field, and what they do every time is get you in this whole thing of beat Brady, beat Brady, beat Brady. And they forget the defense. All they do is sit there, and wait till you make that one mistake against them. We used to, every time we went into New England, we used to always say, go at them. Stop playing this Brady game. Just go at them. Throw the ball downfield at the New England Patriots. You don't see many people do it. They just don't do it a lot. When you talk about what this young team, who I think is so young, they don't even know what the seriousness of what this competition really means for Tom Brady. Mariota and Henry, you run the ball 40 times and keep Tom Brady with that coat on the sideline, then you expose what this defense really looks like. But when you get into it and you start throwing the ball when you shouldn't throw the ball, put Brady back on the field. It's always those decisions that you see every game, every year. You sit home, I'm watching TV, and I say, watch somebody do something crazy against Brady. It's like you go back, historically, his Super Bowls and getting to the Super Bowls, it's always one mistake someone makes to put Brady back on the field and say, guess who they left time for? They left time for Tom to go back out there and do it all over again, right? And so when every time we go into these numbers about New England's defense, they always find a way to win. And historically, we always talked about this. You talk about defense, they go into it as a team, as the New England Patriots. And that's who you have to beat when you go into Foxborough to try to win.
For me, yeah, they're absolutely good enough. Because think about this. They finished number 5 in scoring defense. You don't win football games with yardage. You win football games with points. And over the last 12 games, they're number 1 in scoring D. And the thing, what people get caught up in is because they don't have a Ray Lewis on their defense. They don't have a J.J. Watt. They don't have an LT. They're like, well, they're not any good. But everybody can't play for Coach Belichick. He gets a guy that can play for in that system, and it's fine.
Yep.
Chris Long won a Super Bowl. He was always a loser at the Rams. He went there. He said, I love my experience here. I'm glad I won a Super Bowl. He says, but I got to go play football. You play his way. You play their way. Your stats don't matter. And that's what they get. You look at their offense, with the exception of Gronk, you're like, well, they don't have anybody. But they have an Edelman who's out this year who fits their system. Amendola fits what they do. So we got to get out this notion because they don't have a Julio that Tom Brady's throwing to. They don't have any good offensive players because they do. James White, Deion Lewis, Burkhead, those guys fit what the Patriots do. The key for when you play them, especially in a playoff game, can you get to 24?
Can you get to 24?
In the last decade, they're 11-0 when they get to 24 points. So that's what you got to get to. Can you get there? If you can get there, you have a chance.
Yep.
Now, Coach Belichick, what he likes to do is take away the one thing you do really well. What the Tennessee Titans do really well, they run the football.
Mariota's going to throw the ball to win.
Get into a situation where you throw early, run it late.
Yep.
Catch him off guard. Because he knows you want to run the ball on first down because he knows you want to get it manageable. Second and third downs. Do what the Georgia Bulldogs was doing to Atlanta and until they got away from that. Throw early, run late.
Yep.
This team is plenty good enough. And because as long as you got number 12, see, they're not going to give up the big plays. Coach Belichick, the way he coaches defense, he's not going to give you the 80-yard home run. He feels that you'll make a mistake before you get the ball in the end zone if you got to go 10 to 14 plays. And what have we seen down the stretch? Teams make mistakes the closer they get to the goal.
Every time.
So I hear what both of you two Hall of Famers are saying, but I want you to think on this for a second. Not only does this defense not have a Ray Lewis, it doesn't have a Bill Lewis or a Rick Lewis or a Harry Lewis. They didn't have anybody.
They ain't even got Huey
anybody. It has 0 Pro Bowlers, 0 on defense. And I'm going to throw a couple other negative numbers at you. After all those grades we heard from Casey Joyner, I'm going to throw at you, it was 21st in third down defense for the season. 21st. That's not great.
No.
And in takeaways, which are the crucial element you're talking about, they forced only 18 takeaways for the whole season. That's 25th in the NFL. So this isn't a take the ball away from you defense. And the immortal Duron Harmon, nobody knows who these people are. He led them with 4 interceptions, Duron Harmon. I mean, I know who he is because I like the Patriots and I watch them closely. But I think most NFL fans can't name one player on this defense. Maybe Malcolm Butler, just because he was that guy who stole that pass in the Super Bowl, who picked off the ball at the goal line. But after that, seriously, do you know anybody else? I mean, Stephon Gilmore was the prize of free agency at cornerback.
He had not lived up to Billy.
Anything. He has 2 picks for the year. And they're led by Trey Flowers, the immortal Trey Flowers in sacks with 6.5. Nobody knows who any of these people are. Kyle Van Noy had 5 sacks. Dietrich Wise, you know Dietrich Wise, he had 5 sacks. Nobody knows any of them. And remember, they traded for the year, they traded a 5th and a 7th round pick for one Cassius Marsh from the Seattle Seahawks. And he came in, and they were featuring him in that opening night game against Kansas City and for the first few games. Then they cut him. They gave up a 2nd round pick for Coney Ealy, and they cut him in August. They just said no. He can't play.
But that's why you love Coach Belichick.
I know.
It ain't about what he gave up to get you.
Okay.
Are you helping us win?
Right, but can I raise my hand like in school? Let me can I speak? We do this, Skip, I keep saying this. We do this every year. And who has home field advantage throughout the AFC playoffs right now? Why?
New England.
What? That's what I'm saying. Like, we do this every year to the New England Patriots, and we say, oh, their defense ain't good enough, the defense ain't good enough, and then the AFC has to go through New England. All I'm telling you is, when people play against the Tom Brady, what they don't go all the way back to our years, Michael Jordan. There was many top scoring offenses that would just score points. And then you had to deal with 23. Well, that's the era we're in right now. You got to deal with 12.
You do.
You got to deal with 12.
You have to deal with 12.
At the end, you got to deal with 12. And so they have realized over the years, if my investment is in one thing in New England, it's in figuring out how to get 12 more help.
Okay?
Right?
That is correct. But to your point, somehow they wound up 5th in points allowed. That's sensational.
People play catch up against New England.
Guess what?
Yeah.
And it gets
Guess
them out
what?
And it gets them
They
out of the
were
game.
4th in the NFL in red zone defense. So you can push and push and push. You can first down, because they're not very good on third.
Right.
But then you get inside the 20.
Because the field is compressed.
Right.
That's why Coach Belichick says, if we don't give up big plays, we make them nickel and dimers. Now you eliminate what they can run once you get inside the 20. You ain't running no go route or no 20-yard. What, you gonna throw the ball out the end zone? But Skip, this is why Coach Belichick is the best. Because as you mentioned, he doesn't have a guy that's going to the Pro Bowl on defense and they're 5th in scoring defense. See, and the reason you keep saying, well, they only took the ball 18 times away. But when your offense don't give it away, it doesn't matter how many times you take it away.
It don't matter.
That's how they beat you.
That's how they beat you. You playing catch up with them at all times. Brady's percentage of scoring, he's probably going to score 8, 9 out of 10 times he gets the football, right? And so offenses come into games and they play that same game. I got to score. Instead of playing field position. One of the things that we've always done well against New England was put New England where they had to go 80-plus yards.
Correct.
You did.
Not go 40, 60. If you give Brady a short field, that's points. That's automatic points, right? And so let's take this young team, Tennessee. Take field position. You got a good enough defense, right? Take field position. Run the ball. And if it's not there, punt it away and make Brady go 80 yards. Every time.
Okay.
Don't give up any big plays.
Don't give up no big plays.
Make Brady go 14 plays. Make him go 16 plays. But if you give up the big home run to Cooks over the top, you give Gronk a 50-yard touchdown, you're not beating them like that. So play, when it comes down to this, look, the margin, because, look, we might not look at Tennessee like, well, they're not. They're here for a reason.
They are.
So they're good. These are good football teams. Now, you're not playing Cleveland. You're not.
Cut it out.
Why?
You don't think Tennessee good enough?
Hey,
To beat New England? No, I do not. I don't know.
that's why they play the game.
That's why
yeah.
I don't know.
And people say the Giants weren't going to beat them either at 18-0.
Wait, are you making a case for Tennessee?
Who?
You.
Tennessee should be making a case for Tennessee.
Okay.
Yeah.
But I'm telling you, Tennessee has the ability, if they play the game that they supposed to play. Listen, if I hadn't lived it, I've lived it. The way you beat Brady, is you keep Brady on the sideline.
You do.
That's number one.
Okay.
But the second way you beat Brady is you do not give him short fields. Everybody who plays him, all the way back historically to the Payton days, they would always make that one mistake.
But I'm going to remind you, Tennessee doesn't have Ray Lewis either. They're decent. They're good. They're a good defense.
They're good enough to be in the divisional round.
Yeah. They shut out Kansas City in the second half.
You got them?
No.
No.
Ray, why are you going to call me out like that?
I saw your lips. Your
What?
lips went to the side.
I actually liked it.
Subtle.
All I know, Titans better than the Dolphins.
Oh, well, that's going a long ways.
Oh, the Broncos.
You got me. Yes, definitely. No mercy. The Vikings are a 5-point favorite at home on Sunday against the Saints on Fox. This is a big matchup between the Vikings defense, which gave up the fewest points and yards in the league, against the Saints offense that was ranked second in the NFL. Ray Lewis is still with us. Ray, who wins on Sunday?
I don't know. I don't normally go against the best defense. Yeah, I don't. Yeah.
But
Whoa.
But I don't know, man. I like the Saints. I just really do. Drew Brees, to me, right? So I started to learn this when you're picking picks, right? So most of the time I'm defensive minded, so I'm going to go from the defensive side of the ball, right? Who has the best defense? But then there's a fact in this game, and then that is you have to look at who's the better quarterback in these type of situations. And in this game, inside of a dome, you're putting Drew Brees in what he does very well. And if it's one offense that I wanted to see go against this defense, would be this offense with Mark Ingram and Alvin Kamara. I want to see how they match them up with these young backers, out of UCLA, which are very athletic backers. I mean, I'm
Barring
telling you,
Kendrick.
they are flying to the football, that front seven, rolls out there in the corner, and they have everything it takes to go to a Super Bowl if you're Minnesota. And if it's one person that can come in Minnesota and ruin those dreams, it's Drew Brees. And so the question is, for me, is can Case Keenum keep up with Drew Brees' pace? And if Drew Brees comes in and be Drew Brees against this defense, if Drew Brees puts up 21, 24 against this defense, then we're asking Case Keenum to put up 28 against the Saints defense, which is possible. Possible.
Especially if he's at home.
Yeah.
And this is why I'm leaning towards Minnesota. If this game was in New Orleans, I'm taking New Orleans. But because the game is at home, and that crowd is going to be in a frenzy, and one thing Minnesota can do, they can jump off the ball. They come get your quarterback.
They could come get your quarterback.
They come get your quarterback.
But I like the mismatches that I like Drew Brees.
The left guard is out. They starting left guard is out.
That's a big deal.
That's a big deal. See, that's a big deal. See, that changes a lot, but you can't change the pick now. You got to ride, because, somebody always goes down and somebody's always coming up. But this is the one game I'm really looking forward to for this reason. You got one of the best defenses in football, and you got one of the most explosive offenses in football. And what they did, I guarantee you, the different plays that they put in this week for New Orleans is going to really catch people off guard. This guy, Alvin Kamara, I'm telling you, when the last time we seen something like that? Help me.
Maybe special. He can run it, he can catch it. He's special.
He's got electricity to him.
Yeah.
He's got burst to him.
Yeah, totally. Totally. So no, I'm going with the Saints.
I like your pick.
You going with
I'm
the
going Saints. I picked him going into this tournament. I'm going to stick with them, even though I don't like the loss of the left guard against Carolina.
Yeah, that hurts.
This is a huge moment for Drew Brees. This is a legacy challenge for Drew Brees.
Somebody finally said it.
I'm going to remind everyone, Drew Brees is 7-5 in the postseason. He's got a ring, thanks to Peyton Manning. But on the road in the postseason, Drew Brees is 1-4. And the one was against Nick Foles in Philadelphia, we talked about earlier, late walk-off. In the 4 losses, he lost to Rex Grossman in Chicago in a championship game. He lost to Alex Smith in San Francisco. He lost to Matt Hasselbeck in Seattle in that beast mode run game. Remember that one? And then he lost to just a superior Russell Wilson Legion of Boom team in Seattle. Okay, so those are his 4 losses. If he loses to Case Keenum at Minnesota, it doesn't look great, huh? It doesn't look great, right? You didn't lose to Brady. You didn't, right? There are no legendary losses here where you got outgunned by a superior.
But his legendary wins, he beat Kurt Warner in the division.
He did.
He beat Brett Favre in the championship. He beat Peyton Manning. Now we're talking about.
I think his defense beat Brett Favre because they beat the hell out of him.
I'm saying you're talking about Kurt Warner, the 2-time league MVP. At the time, he had the 3 highest passing totals in Super Bowl history. We know what Brett Favre, the 3 MVPs, the back-to-back Super Bowls, he won 1. And then Peyton Manning. We don't even need to say his numbers. His numbers are too astronomical.
Okay.
That's what he beat to get. That's what he beat in his magical run. So I get where you're going. You lose to Case Keenum after you lost to Rex Grossman and some of these. I don't know now.
Okay, but you're in their dome, new dome in Minneapolis, and everybody says it's as loud as anywhere, although that Superdome is pretty loud, right? And in the big picture, you're up against maybe not the best defense. I still think Jacksonville has a little better defense than Minnesota.
I do too.
But that's eye test. That's not statistics. Stats tell you this is the number 1 defense.
They tough.
Yeah, and they've lived up to it all year long. So you want to talk about a challenge. And Mike Zimmer, who specially was coaching the defensive backfield like Coach Saban's was always, he still coaches the defensive backfield, and I think Zimmer does too.
Yeah.
So I think their plan is going to be the reverse of Ron Rivera's Carolina plan. They just sold out to stop Kamara and Ingram and the run game. This is going to be, we are going to gear up. We're going to try to send only our front four after him, and we're going to try to play more coverage. They might even send 3 and play coverage, do zone blitzes.
Well, this is the Minnesota, old Minnesota. That's the way they played. They played the run on the way to the quarterback.
Yeah.
So they said, look, we're going to knock your quarterback down. Hey, linebackers, y'all handle this run. We going to hunt Drew Brees. I'm going to hunt Drew Brees.
No, that's one-on-ones.
I don't care.
That's one-on-ones.
I don't care. I got Xavier Rose out there. I got Harrison Smith in the secondary. You one game away from being at home for the Super Bowl.
You are.
You are. And if the one person,
He is.
he's the one person that can come
is.
in there
Yeah.
and change that.
Yeah.
He's the one person.
And I'm saying Zimmer, and Zimmer's telling him, hey, let's go get this head. This big old snake right here, just keep hitting that head.
I don't go against defenses often, but I'm telling you, this one.
Them boys finna hunt you. Turn them loose, Zim. Turn them loose.
I'm with Ray. I'm going to bet on Drew Brees. He's later in his career. I think that he knows this
It's
is
the
a
legacy.
big moment.
It's
a
the
legacy
legacy
game.
for him. If he pulls this off.
Yeah.
I mean, we never seen the situation.
Okay, listen to this situation, and we've already went through the scenario. If Drew Brees beats Minnesota and the Falcons beat Philly, the NFC Championship comes through New Orleans.
Matt Ryan gonna light them up.
No, I'm just telling you what the legacy. I'm telling you what the legacy.
I mean, this is the closest we've seen in a long time. Because we knew in 2011 the Cowboys wasn't gonna be in no Super Bowl.
Right.
Even though it was in Jerry's world.
Right.
So this is as close we've been in a long time, Jill. I'm sorry, Skip. No, I'm not.
No, you're not.
Woo!
It's okay.
Woo!
It only took a 56-yard field goal.
Don't do that, Skip.
51-yard field goal. Well,
They
it did.
got, and now they got Stephen Jones. So they're gonna have to change. They're gonna make it more Dak friendly. They're gonna let him hand the ball out 60 times a
See,
game.
you can't help yourself.
Yeah,
You
brought up the Cowboys.
You know what?
Right, you brought up the
you have
Cowboys.
a
Cut it out.
compulsion. You have an addiction to talking Dallas Cowboys. I don't. You do.
I mean, I got to let people know they're still a football team because they ain't in the playoffs. We ain't in the playoffs a long time. They be one and done. They like Duke freshmen. One and done, Skip. They get in the playoffs. We already know.
You better enjoy
Sell
it
it
while
out.
you can.
Yeah, well, you
I like Drew Brees in these backs. I want to see these backs
I do
against this
too.
defense.
I agree.
That's what I'm really excited to see that.
You like Carolina defense or you like Minnesota?
Well, see, now you just brought up an interesting situation because the same dynamic played out in Carolina's defense. And if I was to take a front seven, I'm just saying a front seven.
In Minnesota.
Carolina is tough, man. They are tough.
Carolina got Luke Kuechly and Thomas Davis.
Listen, they play football the way defense should.
But that front four from Minnesota,
they rough.
all of them got on shield because they don't want you to see. They don't want you to look in their eye because they got bad intent.
And them back is running. They're running.
Coming down here, they bump us.
I mean, look, they are. That's why I said I'm going against something I normally don't go against.
You make sure you come in next
No,
week.
I am not going to be sorry.
Make sure you come in
the
next
Saints
week.
going to be sorry if they don't pull that off.
No. I need you here next week.
It ain't happening.
No,
By the way, Shannon Sharpe picked the Saints going into the playoffs, and he leaped off the bandwagon after
How you do
one
that?
game. One game.
Because Shannon picked every favorite this weekend too, right?
Very
Very
I
edgy
was
picks.
look,
I went with all the underdogs.
I
Go
was
ahead.
with Carson Wentz. Carson Wentz got hurt. No, I was with Seattle at first.
Yes, you
and then Wentz started walking that ball to him. Sure, he was throwing 50-yard passes like handoffs. So I call him walking to him Wentz.
Somewhere in there, you were on Pittsburgh's.
And then I wasn't on no Pittsburgh bandwagon.
were.
I didn't have the Steelers.
Yeah, you did for a while, a little while.
Lord. Don't worry about it.
Now you're Falcons.
As long
No, that was Saints and then Falcons.
you know what I would like for the start. I would love for the Cowboys to get to the Super Bowl, Skip.
You would, because you're like everybody else. Deep down,
Nope.
you actually
Because
can't help liking
they become unbearable.
They're the
you
most
would be
interesting
you would be
team.
unbearable.
I would be.
Yeah, exactly.
I would agree.
So no way. Ernestine says no.
I think
she don't want
next
that.
year we'll keep like a bandwagon tracker on you.
Oh, you know, next year it's in the dome. It's in the Mercedes-Benz dome. It's in ATL shoe. I won't be there to be in the Falcons. Gonna be there. I'm picking the Falcons right now.
Picking the
I'm picking the
Falcons
Falcons
now?
to go to the Super Bowl next year.
Lord have mercy.
3 times.
They better go beat Philly.
Yeah, start with that.
This weekend.
Oh, man, they got that.
Yeah. I picked them.
Yeah, exactly. See, he picked Atlanta.
Yeah.
Matt Ryan. Oh, Nick Foles. Oh, you like Nick Foles.
Cowboys.
You like Nick Foles.
I like the ED.
No mercy.
Back in October, the Jags blew out the Steelers in Pittsburgh thanks to Big Ben's 5 interceptions. We're joined now by Fox NFL analyst Greg Jennings. Welcome, Greg.
Good morning.
Morning. Happy Friday. Who wins the rematch on Sunday?
Steelers. Steelers.
Easy, big, wipeout.
I don't know if it'll be a wipeout, but it won't be anything like what we saw week 5. If you go back, even before week 5, go back to week 4. They're playing the Baltimore Ravens. Le'Veon Bell carries the ball 35 times, ends up with 144 some odd yards, 2 touchdowns, 4 receptions, 42 yards. Antonio Brown that game had 4 catches for 34 yards, had 9 targets, but he had the one play,
The meltdown.
the meltdown, where he went ballistic on the sideline. He was wide open, and Ben possibly should have hit him, but he didn't. And Antonio Brown had a fit.
He did. Through the Gatorade.
Exactly.
I'd
He
have been
tossed
mad.
the Gatorade
It's
bottle.
hot. You done dumped that Gatorade out.
Everything. The following week, you got the Jacksonville Jaguars coming in town. What are their strengths? They have a lot of strengths. One of their main strengths is passing defense.
Yeah.
So now Ben, trying to accommodate Antonio Brown, throws him 19 targets. 19 targets.
Yep.
They're up in Le'Veon Bell this game, he only carries the ball 15 times. 15 times. Where he's coming off 35 carries. They completely went away from what they were doing, what they were trying to do, and they threw right into Jacksonville's arms. So going into the second half of that game, Pittsburgh was up in the third quarter 9-7, and then Ben throws the 2 pick sixes.
Yep.
Jacksonville in the third quarter, 0 first downs, 0 yards. Pittsburgh in the third quarter, 8 first downs, 91 yards. 13-3, they were outscored by Jacksonville in the third quarter alone. So when I look at all of these scenarios and I look at Jacksonville, am I in love with their defense? Absolutely. But what we saw, this was not, the Pittsburgh Steelers were able to move the ball in the passing game. The Jacksonville Jaguars weren't as dominant as what the score dictates. Ben Roethlisberger played a horrendous game, specifically third quarter, which put his team behind, which eliminated Le'Veon Bell in the run game. They had to start throwing the ball from behind, and you're playing right into the hands of the strengths of the Jacksonville Jaguars. So I don't see that happening. With all that said, Pittsburgh rolls.
I like Pittsburgh also, but the thing is that when you go on the road and you're playing a team like Pittsburgh, let's try and get the crowd out of the game. Let's try to neutralize them, and then now we can go play football, because you're gonna have to make some checks. Now you want to keep the checks as minimal as possible, Skip. You don't want to have to go up there and try to check every play, because the crowd is good. Once they figure out you're trying to check, now they're gonna get into a frenzy. But if you give them something to sit on the hands about, we go ahead and get the 10-0 lead, it's gonna be okay. But I think Glenn is gonna come out flying high, because I believe in order for them to take care of business and make sure Jacksonville doesn't have anything to play for in the fourth quarter, is to go ahead and get this early lead, make Blake Bortles try to throw his team back into the game. I don't believe he's capable of doing it. You said you liked Drew Brees over Case Keenum. Well, I'm sure you love Big Ben over Blake Bortles. And so with that being said, I like Pittsburgh. I'm going to say 24-10, because I don't believe Ben will throw 5 interceptions with 2 pick sixes. They're not going to play. They won't even play half as bad as they played in that game 5. So I like the Steelers to win and go on up to New England.
Good luck with that. So you have told me on this very show that Nick Foles is a backup quarterback.
Yep.
And you told me Case Keenum is a backup quarterback.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
Blake Bortles is not a backup quarterback. He's a high-pick starting quarterback.
Should be.
You know what? You're falling into the same trap the rest of the world is falling into, because Blake Bortles, for reasons I still can't quite grasp, has become the NFL's punchline. right? He is quote unquote trash, right? That's all I
Skip,
hear.
the man threw for 80 yards last week and they won a game. A starting NFL quarterback threw for 80 yards.
Incredibly, Blake Bortles has become incredibly underrated because he ain't that bad. He was in the top half of quarterbacks in all-season QBR for your performance for the whole year. His was a 56, and it was better than Mariota's, better than Cam's, better than Kirk Cousins, Jared Goff, Eli, Andy Dalton, Derek Carr. All those people had worse QBRs than Blake Bortles, who had 4 300-plus yard passing games this season. That trash guy, that's what he did. And he has some weapons on the outside because D.D. Westbrook, University of Oklahoma, he can fly now.
Yeah, but he ain't catching a whole lot when he do fly.
Well, he can get behind you.
Wow.
Marquise Lee can get behind you. They got, Mercedes Lewis, he can hurt you. They got weaponry, and they got a big old stud running back back there that's pretty good.
Yeah.
And I liked all your points about that distant pass game, that 30-9 debacle for Ben Roethlisberger, but this Jacksonville defense has gotten better every week since that game. This is the next great NFL defense. Has it quite arrived yet? Maybe not quite, but it is arriving. And I say it will continue to arrive in this game. I just think Jacksonville is a better overall football team, including the quarterback, than a superior quarterback in Ben Roethlisberger and the rest of his team. I don't love Pittsburgh's defense. You haven't loved it all year.
No,
and if you take Ryan Shazier out of the middle of it, now I don't really trust it at this point, even against Blake Bortles. But there is Leonard Fournette. And this team has been in turmoil, speaking of the Gatorade incident, all year long. There's been something a little off, a little wrong with this team. And this team for weeks, starting with the head coach, has been talking about nothing but New England, New England, New England. Wait until we get New England. Mike Mitchell says we'll beat them next time in the playoffs. Mike Tomlin went on the record with Tony Dungy before the New England visit in the regular season saying it's going to come down to us and the Patriots. Is it going to be in our house or their house? Well, New England won in their house, so now the playoff game, if they can get past Jacksonville, will be in New England's house. But you got to get past Jacksonville, and Jacksonville knows it. And Jacksonville's going to go in with some confidence, maybe not.
Oh, they're supremely confident because no one's expecting them to win, but except them.
They're a 7-point underdog. I remind you, a 7-point underdog after they won by hook or crook, 30-9. Maybe it was with mirrors, smoke and mirrors,
but Skip,
misleading.
the thing is, Skip, Jacksonville's going to have to seize this moment. What are you going to do with Blake Bortles? Because his contract's going to be up. Jalen Ramsey's going to need a new contract here fairly soon.
What do you mean?
Kevin Smith, Miles Jack.
No, they're not thinking about that. But your guy, Le'Veon, is thinking about his new contract.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
You need to see, Skip, you never know how many more of these opportunities you're going to get.
Okay.
I mean, we're looking at Jacksonville like, man, that's a young team. There ain't no guarantee just because you're young, you're going to get back next year.
I agree with that, but their heads aren't there. Pittsburgh's heads, Ben's head all year long has been, should I retire? Am I washed
Well,
up?
Jacksonville believe they can beat them because they've already beat them once.
Yeah.
Now, how they beat them is unimportant. They beat them. Once I beat you, I feel I can beat you again.
I'm still stuck on your Blake Bortles, like.
I just showed you the numbers. He's
I
not
don't
that
ca-
bad.
He is that bad.
I do not care what those numbers tell me.
Numbers
You
lie.
think I'm taking them over Kirk Cousins and Eli and Cam
He
and all these?
outplayed 'em. He outperformed
Absolutely
them.
not.
He outperformed
Absolutely
every one of them.
If I am Pittsburgh, I sell out 100%
Sell
to
out.
stop
Good.
the run.
Sell.
Because
buying.
all those players outside on the perimeters, all those skilled players that you mentioned that Jacksonville has, which they do have some really nice players. Blake Bortles he has to show me you can get them the ball consistently. Because
then I
I don't
heard you,
believe
Robinson.
when he's throwing the ball, if you look at Blake Bortles, I don't believe he's confident in what he's going to do.
You know what? I liked his interview. He went LeBron at the end of it, which I did not love, but he didn't seem demoralized or defeated in the press session he did this week. He ended it in anger. I think he's going to come out and say, watch this. He's got ability. He's 6'5", 240, and he can run a little bit. Not to make you miss, but he can run down the field.
Okay, I'm like,
Okay.
see, you said that. I like 27-10 now.
Well, go up. Make it 34-10.
2017.
Go ahead. Have the courage of your convictions. You think he's trash? Say he's trash. You think he's trash?
I
Say
think he's trash.
Thank you.
I think
We
he's
got it.
trash.
Did you hear that, Blake? Trash.
It doesn't matter what I think. I think he's
2017
trash.
Steelers. Because you kept on bothering me about Blake Bortles.
Okay.
Now you like Blake. Okay, would you like him on your Cowboys?
No.
Oh, why not? He's good. He can play.
I'm just saying.
He can play.
He's not trash.
Well,
He's
take him on
been
the Cowboys.
trashed all week.
What about the Cowboys then? Put him on the
I don't care. Did you see what he just did?
No.
He can't
Yeah, you
stand
can't
it.
help yourself.
You can't
Yeah.
help yourself.
You want everybody else to have Blake Bortles, but you don't want him on your
I'm
team.
just saying they're in a good spot where he's trash.
I
He's
think
been
he-
dismissed.
I think he
he didn't
better-
have that bad a year.
He done something Dak Prescott couldn't do.
He's the bottom half of the barrel when it comes to quarterbacks.
Well, he's in the top half in performance, whether you like it or not.
No, I don't buy that.
Greg,
I don't.
He done something old Dak ain't done. An old playoff game.
You got the sniff.
Yeah, I do. Those flu ball. That old flu bug going around. Old flu
It's
bug going
everywhere.
around. Got me. Got me.
Well,
Well, if they win this playoff game, it'll be because everybody on the other side of the ball, not on their offensive side of the ball.
Well, you got to do
Specifically
something.
not-
You got to score some points. You don't love Pittsburgh's defense. I'm warning you. It's coming.
I like Jacksonville's offense even less.
Yeah.
oh, nothing but space and opportunity for old Blake. He can shut all of us up.
We'll see.
We will see.
No mercy.
Thanks for listening to the Undisputed Podcast. I'm Joy Taylor. Keep an eye out for a weekend edition of the podcast on Saturday morning, featuring some of this week's best NFL segments. Have a great weekend, everyone.
Fox Sports 1 of 1.